Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. As per usual, you can never win with these leftoids. No matter what you try to do to save people's lives, no matter what you try to do to the benefit of particular groups of people, you're always racist. You're always the bad guy, always a bad person. We're stuck in this endless debate, this endless tug of war, where you try to do something to solve the problem, you try to protect people and enforce the law, but you can't do that because that's racism. It's discrimination. We hear the same thing from the left over and over again, the same accusation. And of course, little to nothing in terms of actual solutions. No, just, you're racist, but don't ask me why or what my alternative solution is. Here we go again, another one of those situations from the usual Democrat suspects. Let me show you guys a very interesting news report. Elizabeth Warren and Ayanna Pressley team up to form the Woke Avengers, taking on the boogeyman known as systemic racism. Let's get into this left-wing idiocy. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so it's the usual spiel. Take a look at this news story.
There's a call for a federal probe of gunshot detection tools that are called ShotSpotter. The equipment is placed on light poles and used by police to respond faster to shootings, but a recent report shows the systems are placed primarily in minority neighborhoods, and officials say this is a violation of civil rights laws. In a letter to the Department of Homeland Security, Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey said, quote, "Several recent reports have cast substantial doubt on the accuracy and effectiveness of the ShotSpotter gunshot detection system and have raised serious questions about its contribution to unjustified surveillance and over-policing of Black, Brown, and Latino communities." In response to the letter, the company behind the ShotSpotter says, quote, "We believe this letter and its claims are without merit, and we are confident that the DHS will see through this baseless attempt to disparage this critical public safety technology."
Yep, you heard it. Apparently, it's discrimination to place shot spotters in neighborhoods that have extremely high incidents of gun violence and gun crime. Why exactly? Well, because these detection machines are being disproportionately placed in black neighborhoods. And of course, as per usual, the left pretends as if it's simply discrimination. There's no other possible explanation, right? Well, not exactly. As per usual, facts and data, statistics, prove to be the left's kryptonite. Let's take a look at some data from the FBI and the CDC. Let's compare the differences between predominantly white neighborhoods and predominantly black neighborhoods. Let's look at gun homicide rates. National averages. According to the CDC, the firearm homicide rate for black Americans was 22.4 per 100,000 in 2020, compared to 2.9 per 100,000 for white Americans. This means that black Americans are nearly 8 times more likely to die from gun homicides than white Americans. So black Americans living in black American communities are dying to gun violence at an 8 times rate than white Americans, but the left tells you that these ShotSpotter programs are being placed in these neighborhoods because of racism. How absolutely idiotic is this? It's the same thing with the left over and over again. It's this constant ignorant wokeness, perpetuating this ridiculous victim narrative, thinking everything about race and racial discrimination and systemic racism, all the woke buzzwords, while completely ignoring the actual facts. And keep in mind, this comes from the side that's constantly going on and on about how Black Lives Matter. Well, apparently not enough to install technology that could potentially lower the incident rate of gun crime or arrest individuals who are ravaging these neighborhoods as they go on these violent gun-slinging sprees. Apparently, you're a racist if you try to do something about it. What is the frickin' goal here? That's what I don't seem to understand. The accusation is that police officers in these neighborhoods are racist for trying to make these communities safer, and that there's no justification for increased police presence in some of these neighborhoods. But again, I reiterate, black men, and especially young black men, are dying every single day in the streets. Apparently, you're a racist if you want to do something about it. I can't think of anything more backwards. This is the self-serving way of your average hypocritical leftist or Democrat. They don't actually care. They don't care about black life. They don't care about creating prosperous communities that are able to thrive, where businesses are able to engage in business and transaction, creating wealth and upward mobility. No, they don't care about any of that. They just want to use racism and all of these woke buzzwords as a means for gaining power, or as a means for gaining more public notoriety, being a freedom fighter on the streets, a social justice activist. It's also completely idiotic, and I come back to the same thing that I always say. How is anything gonna get better if the philosophy is that all you need to solve the problem is to pull your hands off, a total hands-off solution, and the problem will simply fix itself? Don't arrest criminals because that's racist. Just defund the police, lift your fist in the air, and add a little sprinkle of rioting in the streets, and crime will simply vanish. The criminals will say, you know what, we had our day, but now it's time to get a job. Give me a break. This la-di-da left-wing socialist viewpoint is nothing but self-serving, virtue-signaling nonsense. There has to be some accountability. There has to be policing. If people commit crimes, they must be held accountable for their actions. But of course, if you view the world through a leftist BLM lens, well, it's an opposite worldview. A worldview where businesses that are shutting down in these neighborhoods after being ransacked and looted, after facing constant, non-stop shoplifting and robbery, where you would think the business or the retail store would be the victim. No, according to leftist thought, and again, according to Ayanna Pressley, the retail stores aren't the victim. No, those companies are actually discriminating against black neighborhoods.
Mr. Speaker, Walgreens is planning to close yet another pharmacy in the Massachusetts 7th, this time on Warren Street in Roxbury, a community that is 85% black and Latino. This closure is a part of a larger trend of abandoning low-income communities like the previous closures in Mattapan and Hyde Park, both in the Massachusetts 7th. When a Walgreens leaves a neighborhood, they disrupt the entire community, and they take with them baby formula, diapers, asthma inhalers, life-saving medications, and of course, jobs. These closures are not arbitrary, and they are not innocent. They are life-threatening acts of racial and economic discrimination. That is why I joined with Senator Markey and Warren to demand answers from Walgreens CEO. Why was there no community input, no adequate notice to customers, and no transition resources to prevent gaps in health care? Shame on you, Walgreens. Having a website with talking points about health equity and underserved communities is not enough. Walgreens is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that needs to put their money where their mouth is and stop divesting from black and brown communities.
There's no justifying this thought process. It's frankly idiotic, and most importantly, it's counterproductive. You cannot say that Black Lives Matter or that you care about black people or the advancement of the black community if you adopt these left-wing stances. Caring about the victims in these communities, the victims of crime, isn't racist. It's basic common sense. And anything to the contrary is, as I stated, counterproductive and completely idiotic. That's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.